right, so maybe you're somebody that's thought, hey, I don't have a lot of time to have meaningful conversations with kids. I just don't have the time. I'm with you. You've got a million things to do. There's more kids waiting for your attention. Maybe you're a teacher or a youth pastor or just a parent. And in the back of your mind though, you've got that one middle schooler that could really use a connection. Here's what I've been learning working with urban middle schoolers in Phoenix is you don't need an hour-long heart-to-heart to make a real connection. Sometimes 3 minutes is all it takes to completely change a kid's day. Today we're talking about the power of a micro connection. That's just a quick check-in that says, hey, I see you, I'm thinking about you, and I value what you have to say. Let's bust a myth real quick. Sometimes we think that having a meaningful conversation or a connection requires this like heart-to-heart, big production thing where we sit them down, we make eye contact, and they just pour their hearts out to us, and then we fix all their problems. Look, those conversations are important, but when we're waiting for the perfect time, for all the stars to align, for us to have this heart to heart, we're gonna miss out on hundreds of opportunities to have meaningful conversations with kids. Here's the reality. Middle schoolers, especially our urban kids, are constantly evaluating whether adults are real, whether they mean what they say or they're just asking because that's their job. They can tell the difference between how are you, because that's what you should ask a kid, and how are you, meaning like, hey, I really care about you. They can totally tell the difference, and they'll spot it a mile away. They can tell if you're fake or not. And they're not necessarily looking for you to solve their problems. Listen to me. This is something that we all struggle with. They don't want you to fix it. They just want you to listen. And that's where the 3-minute conversation is clutch. So what am I talking about when I say a 3-minute conversation? It's personal, but it's not invasive. It's natural. It's not weird. Please don't make this weird. Kids aren't going to talk to you if you make it this whole thing or have a very scripted, here's my question and follow up. No, you got to make it natural. You have to actually be genuinely interested in what they have to say. So minute 1 is notice something specific about them. Not, hey, how are you? That's too general. But say something like, hey, I noticed that you were really focused on that math problem today. Just a quick opening to show that you actually noticed them specifically. Minute 2, ask one good question. Not 20 questions, not something vague, but just one. Something that invites them to share, but doesn't put them on the spot. And then minute 3 is listen without trying to fix. Remember, that's what we as adults want to do. We got to resist the urge to fix. It's the hardest part for us. We want to jump in with advice, pull back, and just listen. The magic happens in consistency, not the depth of a single conversation. The fact that you show up, that you notice that for 3 days in a row, for 3 minutes, you took the time to check in. Now, the good question part, that's where we need to get strategic, because sometimes we need help knowing what to ask and what feels natural and also opens up space and isn't weird. So here's some of my go-to questions for the 3-minute check-in. First one is, what's something that you're looking forward to today? It's simple, it's forward-looking, and it gives them something positive to say. The next one, I think this is my personal favorite. I use this more often than not, is on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your energy right now? Or another version of this is, if you were a phone, what would your charge be? This is something that gives them permission to be honest without having to go super in depth on how they're feeling. The third one is, this is a really helpful one, is what's been on your mind lately? Like if you notice a kid that's been a little subdued or they're just a little off, what's been on your mind lately? Or hey, what's taking up space in your head? Gives them a chance to share something that they're feeling, maybe something they're struggling with. And then if you could change one thing about today, what would it be? This is a great question just to see where they're at and see if there's anything maybe that you need to follow up on. So here's what I love about these questions is they work even if the kid is having the worst day ever. Doesn't matter if they're having the best day ever. They work because they don't assume anything, they just create space. And for urban middle schoolers who might be carrying stuff that we don't know about, they're likely carrying stuff we don't know about, having these at low pressure, just 3 minutes, really helps them open up and understand that maybe the only person that day cares about them and values them. One way that I've seen this work really well is there was a kid a couple years ago that walked past our house on the way to school, and he would come to our programs, but I noticed one day he was kind of he was just a little off. Not dramatically, oh, he's going through some kind of crisis, but he just seemed off. So I was like, hey man, on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your energy? And he stops and he looks at me and he's like, honestly, Jeff, like a 3. I was like, man, that's kind of low. What would it take to get you up to a 5? That was my follow-up. And so then he just told me, hey, I'm kind of nervous about this math test I have today. And that was it. That was the conversation. There wasn't any big revelation. I didn't fix his problem. And then I followed up the next day and I said, hey man, scale of 1 to 10, how we feeling? And he said, 8. Math test wasn't so bad after all. And that was it. Less than 3 minutes. It was less than 30 seconds, that second check-in was. And then, believe it or not, a couple weeks later, when he was going through something real, something heavy, guess who he turned to? That's right. He came to us because we had listened to him. We had built that relationship foundation through the 3-minute check-ins. Here's what else happens when you consistently check in with middle schoolers is, one, it's pretty cool. They start checking in with you. Once they know that you actually care about them, that you're going to listen to them and you're not going to make it weird, they're going to find you. They're going to find you in the hallway. They're going to find you in the class. They're going to show up a little bit early to your youth group. They're going to stop by your house because they know you're a safe space. Another cool thing that happens is they start checking in with each other. They've seen you model it. They know how it makes them feel. And naturally, sometimes even without thinking, they start creating conversations and spaces where they have a conversation with their peers and start asking them about what's happening inside of them without making it weird. It's a natural thing that happens because you modeled it and you showed them how to do it. And the third thing that happens when we have these 3-minute check-ins consistently is that the big conversations get easier. You've laid the foundation. You know that, or they know that you're somebody that they can trust. Even though you're an adult, they know that you're not going to press them. But when it comes down to it, you're going to be there for them when things get tough. All right, so here's what you can do this week. Do it today, do it tomorrow, but pick one middle schooler, not 5, not 20, not the whole class, not everybody, but just somebody that could use a little extra attention. Pick a consistent time and place, and then come up with a question that you're going to ask them. So listen without fixing. Don't make it weird. It's going to work, I promise you. If you're strategic about it, can change the whole dynamic of your class, of your program, of your youth group. It's going to change the way that the kids interact with each other and how they interact with other leaders who are modeling this same strategy. Your middle schoolers, they don't need you to be perfect. They just need you to connect. So try it this week. Let me know how it goes. 1 kid, 3 days, 3 minutes. Let me know how it goes. You got this.